Everyone have your personal flotation devices?
Not me.
Not me.
This is our adventure. This isn't our goodbye. It's only the beginning, and time is on our side. We can send a postcard. We can drive all night. We can count the stars until the sunrise fills the sky and hides the moon. It's just me and you. Just me and you. This is our adventure. This isn't our goodbye. Honey, we can start running. I can see the sun coming. Honey, we can start running. I can see the sun coming. Honey, we can start running. I can see the sun coming. Honey, we can start running. I can see the sun coming.
Hey guys, I'm Jess.
And I'm Rod.
And this is week
20. 20?
maybe. We don't know. Yes, it is 20.
Okay, 20.
And this week we are so excited to share with you our experience on the Heritage Cruise Line in Cambodia. And this is definitely my favorite thing we have done since getting to Southeast Asia.
Yeah, we had an amazing time at Angkor Wat, and we didn't think that we could top it, but it really ended up being that way.
It was incredible. Everything from the accommodation, we had like 2 rooms connected, which was incredible, but the staff treated our kids like they were their aunts and uncles. It was so much love. The people in Cambodia, and just being able to get to more remote places that we probably wouldn't have seen otherwise, made it really special. So we just got lucky because we loved our time at Navutu the week prior, and so it just, everything in Cambodia could not have been better.
Jeez. And this cruise, you know, it started off in the Tonle Sap River. We'll overlay a map right here. And it took us down the Tonle Sap River, over through Phnom Penh and into the Mekong River, where we went up for a day and then kind of back down to Phnom Penh and spent the last day there.
Yeah. So it kind of did a U.
Yeah, so it was a 4-night cruise for us. The cruise itself continues on to Vietnam for a couple more days. So if you're interested in doing both Cambodia and Vietnam, then you have that opportunity. But
wish we would have done that.
we wish we were so
we did
sad to
Vietnam
leave.
first and then Cambodia, so it didn't really make sense for us by the time we discovered Heritage to make our way back. But when they were willing to collaborate with us, it was so exciting, and we were stoked, but we did not expect to fall in love with it as much as we did.
Yeah. So as you saw from the entry video, we were already in love with it. First thing we checked out was the pool. and
Yes.
make sure that the kids were happy. We're actually the only ones that were
Really
romping
used
around
it.
in the
We
pool.
loved
Yeah.
the pool. It was the perfect height for Nora, so it was amazing. Our first stop was at Kampong Chhnang, and it was really fun because it's in a more remote location, and it was, the whole purpose was to go learn about pottery and how they build these ovens. Which Rod sat through more of that than I did.
The ovens, and there was a guy that has been collecting the palm sugar liquid and syrup for like 50 years, and he was showing us how he did it. He climbed some trees, and then there was a lady that made kind of cooking ovens in little pots for cooking. That was great.
It was, so we went for this educational session. But for me, what I fell in love with is Santi lasted a couple minutes and then kind of wandered off and met all these children. And I kind of just loved watching him interact with the kids.
Yeah.
I mean, he quickly made these friends and they played for quite a while. And it was just really fun to see him go from like, kind of, they would watch each other to like, hey, let's share this bottle of water, to hey, let's full on play.
You'll see this as a recurring theme this week, is that we go to all these places, and granted, most of these are kind of tailored towards like adults listening and having a tour guide tell you about history and stuff, but it was still very family friendly, and the kids there were able to find each other and just play together.
Santi played so much this week. And that was another, just to say, Heritage Cruise Line assigns a private tour guide for the whole week for everyone on the boat. So that made it really nice to get off and have everything planned.
Yeah.
But, yeah. Did he get?
Whoever's gonna.
Okay.
Santi.
Tickle. Okay. Okay.
So the regular day-to-day of the Heritage Cruise was kind of, we would have a morning activity like you just saw in Kampong Chhneng, and then in the afternoon we would do another activity after having lunch back on the boat. This next activity was, we cruised down a little bit longer down to Kampong Tralak. It was still kind of in between Siem Reap and Phnom Penh. And it was an even more rural village than Kampong Chhneng was.
Yeah.
And you could tell this was rural because as soon as we got off, we were greeted by a little caravan of like ox carts.
Granted, they do have regular cars there. It's not like the only. It might have just been more like the touristy thing.
It was touristy because everyone else was on their motorbikes.
But it was
Still
rural.
fun.
It was fun because there we got to go and meet up with the school, which Santi was really fun to participate in the day. We weren't going as teachers as much as just hearing about their program. Cambodia kind of has problems with finding schools in rural areas, and so some kids end up getting sent to boarding schools or somewhat like a boarding
or just
school
not going to
place,
school at
or
all.
not going to school at all. So this school in particular was nice because it isn't run by international volunteers and other people. It's actually run by a local, and the kids live at their homes and they go to this school in their community, and they're really, really focusing on it being like a local community run program, which I really, really love that idea that they can make something self-sustainable within their community. And it was just fun to see the kids so excited to learn. And
yeah, it's called the Green School, and their knowledge and what they've learned from in English is really spectacular. Yeah, and a lot of the staff that we met on the boat, on our boat, kind of credits some of their education and their English language education as kind of factors that help them secure these jobs that allow them to work in the hospitality industry as staff on this boat.
Yeah, so it was really, really fun to see that partnership and to see some locals really come together and put the school together for the children. We are going on an oxen ride. Okay, be careful. There's our boat. Yeah. Nora, what are you laughing at?
Kampong Tralak was kind of the end of our first day, a full-on day at the cruise. Overnight, we sailed past Phnom Penh and up into the Mekong River. And that morning, we kind of just, or I guess our captain just kind of parked the boat on the side of the river.
Yeah, it was
and we
kind of
just
cool.
got off there. There were
We'll
a bunch
show you
of
a
cows
picture.
everywhere. Yeah, and we got on a bus that took us to Wat Anche. It's a very ancient Buddhist temple, and there's a very big Buddhist monastery and school there
It's
to
really fun
train
to see.
Buddhist monks. So you can
There's
see
either
them
these
everywhere.
big stairs that we could have walked up. We did not. We took the lazy route and took the bus because we had the kids. But it's kind of reminded me of Batu Caves. It's just long stairway up into these temples, and that was another place that was really fun to see Santi with the kids. And my favorite part about it is, as we notice in Cambodia a lot, the older siblings are responsible for their younger siblings. So out and about, you'll see these, 7, 8-year-olds with these babies carrying them around on their backs.
Yeah.
And I think Santi throughout the week noticed, like, these kids have responsibility and they care for their siblings. So Santi that day, like, took on this role of, like, I want to carry Nora, and I need to feed Nora, and I need to care for Nora. And so it was just kind of funny to see. I feel like sometimes we spoil him so much.
That he doesn't understand that he is the big brother.
That he understands, yeah. And so I think he really admired that in the kids.
Yeah.
And so that was really cute. We just got off the boat. You can see it over there.
Hi, Cal.
First time putting her on my back.
One of the shorter excursions we did one evening was walk through a town called Angkor. And we weren't there as long, but I really, really loved it. It was one of the places that if we went back to Cambodia, I'd like to take a car to and just spend more time at. It was beautiful to see how the people lived. They live in usually wood houses that are lifted up, and while it is like flooding preventative, it's mostly used that way for air ventilation. So it was really cool just to get kind of like a glimpse.
Yeah, it was very non-touristy. We just walked around there for an hour. We got to see the community and see what day-to-day life is in a Cambodian village.
Yeah, so that was really, really fun. I loved taking pictures there and kind kind of just trying to interact with the locals, and they like to see the pictures on the camera, and so that was just really fun, really calm, but like a really, really nice glimpse into like rural Cambodia life.
Yeah. So after that second day, we sailed back down to Phnom Penh, where we kind of docked for pretty much a whole day. We spent that night in Phnom Penh, and the next morning we had the morning excursion, which was out to the killing fields. So there's, you know, a really big part of Cambodian history, which was during the 1970s and 80s, that was the Khmer Rouge. It's a really big massacre event, which was
a genocide,
extremely harmful to, you know, all of Cambodia, and it was really emotional going to these places where people would get taken and they would get essentially murdered, and it was hard for us.
We didn't video as much. We were really just trying to like take on the weight of the experience. I mean, it's really hard, especially since it's so recent. You can tell the Cambodian people are eager to just move on and progress as a country, and I don't think that they all live in that time as much as when you're coming in and you're seeing it for the first time. It's really heavy. It's just a lot to take in, because a lot of the people even we met on the cruise, they lost parents, grandparents. Cambodia has a lot of orphans still, and people who lost family members, because when Pol Pot came into Cambodia, he targeted pretty much anyone that was educated, lawyers, doctors, teachers, artists, musicians. And so Cambodia as a whole, they took like all of the top people, like the, not top people, but they took all of that population and wiped them out, and pretty much only wanted rice farmers to succeed. And so it still has a huge effect on education and schooling and just how Cambodia is today. But when you're there, you just see how sad this event was, but then how much love these people have.
So in terms of the kids, we did take the kids to the killing fields. We kind of kept them to the side while one of us would go off with a tour guide and kind of explore the place. We also, back in Phnom Penh, kind of the downtown area, there's the S21 prison. That one of us just sat at a cafe with the kids while the other one went and walked through the entire museum, because that one was definitely more graphic and kind of less kid-friendly than the other activities.
Yeah, it was interesting because we took the kids to some of the Vietnam War stuff, and so I feel like this one we decided not to, more so because we had a tour guide with us who was really explaining things in detail, and they were the only kids on our tour, and so I just didn't want them. I think you could probably take kids to see it and maybe not just go into all the details, but when all these details are being told, we really just didn't want it to impact them.
Yeah. So we had lunch in town at Phnom Penh, and then that afternoon we spent going and touring the Royal Palace in Phnom Penh for the Cambodian king, who still lives in the Royal Palace, which is really interesting. He had just gotten back from a trip when we visited, so you could see, they tell you there's some flags there that, hey, when the flag is up, that means the king is at the palace. And we got to explore a little bit. The kids got to run around. It's a very beautiful, like nicely manicured lawns and gardens. It was still hot out, but we had a lot of fun.
It was really nice.
Yeah. And that kind of wrapped up the big tour events that we had with the Heritage Cruise Lines, but we did have one final activity that night. We were still docked in Phnom Penh, and we were treated to a barbecue dinner on the sister boat. The boat that we were on was called the Jahan, and then they have a sister boat called the Jaya Barman, which kind of cruises on the opposite direction.
Yeah, they just
so they always meet up in Phnom Penh. The two crews get together and enjoy this barbecue dinner and have this traditional Cambodian dance performance, which we loved.
Yes.
Yeah, we recorded
really
all of them. We're not going to show you all of them, but we do want to show you one of those dances,
they were
which
so
was really
just fun to watch.
Endearing. Yeah,
it was cute. We know this video has a lot because the cruise was amazing. It kept us busy, it kept the kids entertained, and we just really loved it. So we hope that if you make it to Cambodia and you're looking for a really unique experience, you look into Heritage Cruise Line. Speaking of long videos, coming up next week is our last Southeast Asia video.
Crazy.
That's crazy.
21 weeks. Well, a little bit less than that because we spent some time in Hawaii,
but still,
a lot of
crazy.
time in Southeast Asia.
It'll be our last Southeast Asia video, and then when we start Australia, we plan to switch it up a little. So stay tuned to how we're going to do that.
Yeah, thank you guys again for watching. Make sure that you subscribe so you don't miss that last Southeast Asia video. It is at a place that we've been before, just a little bit kind of a different experience. So it should be interesting still. We're excited. Thank you once again. We appreciate you for watching. Make sure that you like and comment if you have any questions for us about
share.
this.
The more you
Heritage
guys
Cruise Line.
share and the more people get involved, the more motivation we have
Yeah,
to keep putting this out there. So
we appreciate you. And until next week,
happy jet setting.